Report it to my computer as well, and then we're going to get started. Hi, everybody. This is Job Search Lunch and Learn, Career Search Lunch and Learn, because it's so much more than just trying to find your next job. It's trying to find out what you want to do when you want to grow up and where you want to be, what kinds of things you want to build into your own portfolio. So whether you're here because you're looking for a new job, you're thinking about making a career change, you want to build those portfolio, those freelance careers, we're here to support you. I'm Linda Brubaker, and I'm a career transitions coach. And I've been doing this for the past 8 years. Sounds like a long time, and it is. But I love doing it because it's my way of giving back. I'm a former HR manager, former recruiter, a former headhunter, what do they call it now? An executive search consultant, hiring manager, and HR business partner. And I've been a job search coach now, a career coach, for the last 8 years. So the information that I give you is based not only on my own experience, both inside and outside companies, all my recruiting contacts, all my hiring manager contacts, all the research that I do within the HR and hiring manager world. It's based on information that I know works for all of you. Now, I do this as my give back. It's my way of saying, look, I know you don't want to be here, so I want to be able to give you the support you need to move on and find that next forever job or next forever career. But as part of that, I support myself and support this program by doing individualized coaching. So I'm going to put that information in the chat. And believe it or not, that's going to be my only sales opportunity for me. Okay, that's the only way, my only ask is that if you know somebody who might be interested in that coaching, you pass that along. But by the way, here's my second ask. If you know somebody who could benefit from this group or from some of the information that we share, please share that with them. We'd love to have them join us as well. Okay. We know if you've been here before, you know that we start the day with quick wins. We're a small enough group today, which I love actually, because it gives us great opportunity to do some networking later. But I want to make sure that if you are new to the group, please put new all in caps in the chat so that we can welcome you to the room and to what we do. And we'll give you an opportunity, if we can, to have several people introduce themselves. And then we're going to go into what we call quick wins. One of the ways that we share with each other, that we do that networking and get that support, is by seeing what other people are doing and sharing that information and advice and learning from what they've done. And that's what those quick wins are all about. So I'm going, Barbara, Kumar, and Adam, we're going to let you introduce yourselves. Are your cameras on so that I can find you? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight you and put you, and then give you a quick opportunity to introduce yourselves in the order in which I put you up on the screen. If I can find you. Please raise your digital hands. Okay, that as well. Kumar, are you doing this to introduce yourself or because you have a win?
Yes, thanks. Thanks for this opportunity. Good afternoon to all. My name is Kumar Murugesan. I'm based out of Plainsboro, New Jersey. I am looking for a project manager or program manager position in IT industry. That's where I just joined this course, joined this occasion. Thank you.
Of course.
Hi, everybody. I'm Barbara Falk. Kumar, I'm actually your neighbor. I live in Monroe, New Jersey. So you're next town over. I joined this group because I recently was downsized, and I'm just looking for, I've been a consumer marketer my entire career, and I'm not sure if I'm looking for consumer marketing or my next act. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do now, but I'm pretty much done with corporate America. I think it is very broken, and I want to say goodbye to corporate America forever. So that's my story.
I understand completely. Adam, did you want to introduce yourself? You put yourself as new in the chat.
Yeah, thank you very much. Adam Becker. I'm based out of North Metro Atlanta, and I'm seeking a position as a customer success manager.
Does it matter which field it is?
So my experience has been largely in support of a software and SaaS solutions, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a particular industry, but I would be looking primarily at organizations that support that type of technology.
Excellent. More and more of them. Okay, great. All right. Thank you very much. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into those quick wins. And for those of you who haven't been here before, a quick win can even be the fact that you had an interview and it didn't go anywhere. You got the interview, right? So the idea, or somebody connected with you that you thought you might not happen. So let's share some of those quick wins. If you've got some, let's raise your digital hand and give you an opportunity to share with us. So I see, let's see. There we go. Patricia.
Me? Oh, hey. Hi. Well, I have been hearing a lot more from recruiters, although I also have two jobs in particular. I'm getting notice from more than one recruiter. So I'm like, well, I just assume they're having trouble filling the position. One of them is a place that I had worked at already. And I think I wouldn't say I made enemies, but I think it was a little bit of a culture clash because I certainly know the material. So had a great interview with the firm that was the recruiting, like the firm that was working with the ultimate client. Had a great interview with him, but the ultimate clients don't want me back. So that it was sort of a win, but not ultimately. But the qualified win I had recently was contacted by an external recruiter. Definitely a great job description for me. But he went and sort of modified my resume a little bit and then and then submitted it. I was like, dude, there's one thing here that is not really correct. Or it doesn't, it's not, yeah, anyway, but it's done. So we'll see.
Yeah. Be
So
careful.
if I got the question for you, Linda, is if I actually got somebody calling me about it, I mean, and I got sort of nailed for something that didn't make total sense, should I throw the recruiter under the bus or just say, forget it? I don't know.
So it's an external recruiter?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I would submit it and just say, here's my current resume.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I have a much longer resume, more than a 3-pager that has a lot more detail.
No. People aren't going to read it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I can't, it's hard for me to throw away relevant experience,
There are ways of doing it without throwing it away. Okay.
Okay.
So honestly, if it's more than 2 pages, people will stop reading it. The machine might read it, but people will stop. In fact, we found that people don't even necessarily read to the second page.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
So remember,
yeah.
it's relevant experience for that job, not everything you've ever done.
Right.
And if it's more than 4 or 5 bullets under a job, it's too many. And it's not based on tasks. It's not everything you've done. It's what you were able to accomplish, what the results were. Okay. What the activities were that relate to the new job.
Right.
Okay. But I want to give you one more piece of advice and for everybody. You mentioned that you were contacted by several recruiters, outside recruiters for the same job.
Yeah.
We're finding that happens a lot. And it's not because the job is hard to fill. It's because the recruiters are desperate for work.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I think they have a quota.
They do. And an outside recruiter only gets paid when they get a placement. So they're all going out there. And there are very few what are called dedicated outside recruiters anymore. They're all contingent, which means that they go, because I've been one. You go to the company and say, hey, I think I could find you a right candidate. Would you be willing to let me submit somebody? And they say, sure. And they can have 10, 20 or more recruiters who are doing that. Do not let more than one outside recruiter submit you to the same company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only
No, that
one.
hasn't happened.
Okay. So that's one of the things that you should be aware of. It always works that way. And if a recruiter tries to modify your your resume for what they think it should look like.
Yeah.
Never let them submit that resume without your approval.
He did it without asking, he did it already. I told him, there's one thing that's really not right. And he was like, ooh, I already,
Yeah. So my guess is, and tell them that you need that form of that approval first.
yes,
And you can say that.
yeah.
Okay. So I would definitely do that. Thanks for the sharing and good luck with the other win.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Hi there.
Good afternoon. My name's Mike. My two quick wins this week was I had a final interview on Monday. I did get declined the following day because she's looking for a unicorn. She said, everything with all your IT experience, Mike, but I need somebody that has rare disease experience too. So, but I applied to another job on Monday, and I have an interview with the executive recruiter this afternoon. So those
Excellent.
are my two.
Perfect. Congratulations. So
Thanks.
we're finding that happens. That's good. Yes, people are looking for unicorns. Sorry about that. But what you can do or try to do is turn that lack of specific industry experience into a positive. So you don't have that rare disease. That's great. You got all the rest. And then what I do is I come in without the preconceived ideas of how this should work within your industry. I'm going to learn from you and your customers and so on, bringing the best of what I know to the best of what you know. It's another way of making that transition.
Right.
Okay.
And I do have a statement that I put together after learning from this experiences, because when I look back in my 25 plus years, I've only had all my jobs have been in different industries. And so my pitch is more, hey, I've excelled in so many industries. And one of the things I learned when I did some studying at Harvard, MIT, CSR, is diversity of thought increases innovation in a company also.
Absolutely.
So that
that's
is
where you-
one of my pitches. Yep.
Exactly. Okay. Is that I bring this outside thought to what you do, right? I build on what I know, build on what you know, and it works together. And you're right. Companies are still looking for unicorns. I would go back to them afterwards and thank them again for the opportunity. You never know that unicorn client or that uniform person that they hired may not work out, and they may have another opportunity for you. So always do that as well. Jennifer.
Hello. I am looking for, I just am finishing my paralegal certificate to be as a part of a career change to become a paralegal or a legal assistant, kind of synonymous or, you know. I have 3 local law firms that are percolating. One of them emailed me about coming in for an interview this week or next week. Another one I need to contact back, and a third, I have to take an assessment test, an online assessment test tomorrow morning. I had a phone interview that went well. I think getting these interviews, I've been customizing my resume and cover letter for every job. And even if I see it as on a job board, I might click there, but then I go directly to the company's website and apply.
Excellent. Good, thank you. Okay. Next, Kumar, do you have a quick win?
Yes, I just gave an interview this Monday, and I got a second interview call. Just came to me yesterday, and then afterwards I'll be having a personal interview, in-person interview in New York. That's still going on. And also I spoke to another recruiter yesterday, and this is the first time actually I'm going to join as a kind of consultant. I never been there as a consultant last 20 plus years. what I'm seeing is right now, the billing rates are very low. They are telling that because of so many PMs in the market, and their billing rate is very low in the market. That too, I need to relocate to ENC, but I'm okay with that. That's where I'm standing right now.
Thank you. David Mills.
Yes. A couple weeks ago, I actually had a phone screen, 12-minute phone screen for a business analyst hybrid position outside of Boston. They were supposed to let me know in a week. It's been 2 weeks, so I think they might be ghosting me. Anyway, I did follow up once via email. And the second win is thank you to Michael Leonard, who told me about the Northeast Executive Group, I think it's called. And I did my first meeting with him yesterday. And out of that, I got 4 connections that will result in 4 networking conversations, which is pretty amazing to get that many.
Absolutely.
It's called NEAG, right? So,
Yeah.
Northeast or
Advisory Group.
Advisory Group.
Yeah,
right.
sorry. Advisory Group.
Executive Advisory Group.
Yep. So there are lots of those organizations out there. Make sure that you find them. And whether it's online or whether it's in person, those meetings are important. Thank you, David.
Yep.
Is it called
Any other-
Northeast Executive Advisory Group?
Okay.
Is that what the name is?
Yes.
Yeah, the Northeast Executive Advisory Group, so NEAG.
Okay. And there are those groups all over the place. So do check some of them out. Excellent. Any other quick wins? Yep, there are some groups in Princeton. There's several in New Jersey, in lots of different places. I'm looking at the chat as well. If I've missed something in the chat, please let me know. How do you get recruiters? Yeah. Okay. Kumar, your hand is still raised. Did you just forget to bring it down? Here you go. Thank you. All right, so let's get into our topic today, which is the idea of, all right, so what do you do after you meet somebody, and how do you introduce yourself? And honestly, introducing yourself is different depending upon the situation. So when we're talking about introducing yourself can be as simple as, hi, here's my name. It can go into the long explanations. It can be just a very short 30-second elevator pitch. It can be that introduction to yourself in an interview or a conversation. But what we're going to talk about today is not the one about the interview. We're going to talk about those meeting people for the first time, those casual conversations. And how do you get to go from, hi, my name is, to starting that conversation, to starting to build those relationships? So I'm curious, how many of you are comfortable with those 30-second quick little introductions? Put it in the chat if it's a yes. Okay. And if it's a no. I'm just curious. Excellent. Okay. So far it's about half and half. So for you can, who says I can talk with anybody? Marianne, I believe it. You can. You're that warm personality. You've got that conversational style. That's wonderful. Okay.
I had a short stint as an Uber driver. That's why.
4 or 5-star ratings, I would guess.
Yep.
Okay. So the idea of being able to talk to people is really important. And it's, how do you get yourself out there? So Marianne, when you did that, can I put you on the spot for a moment?
Sure.
And let you share a little bit about how you introduced yourself?
Oh,
and how you
not
do it
being an
now.
Uber driver?
So what did you learn from being the Uber driver that you've now put into introducing yourself to other people in other situations.
That seriously, I can talk to anyone. The important thing is after you get beyond the name, let them do the talking first and you respond or go a different thread or something like that. I'm going to an AI summit after this meeting today, which I'm fearful of because I'm not an AI aficionado, but I'm going to learn and see who I can meet. So it'll be interesting how I put myself in that situation.
You know, putting yourself out there is great. Let us know how it goes and what you learn.
I will. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So the idea of being able to introduce yourself in lots of different ways is really important. You can, if you want to, throw something into ChatGPT or something similar and say, here's who I am. Give me a 30-second introduction. You can try that. But I'd rather that you think about it in terms of being able to answer 3 questions. When you're meeting somebody for the first time, whether it's a casual meeting, whether it's a networking meeting, you want to be able to give the answer to I am, I can, I want. If you think about it in those 3 phrases, that can be very short. That's your introduction. I am, okay? I'm a human resources pro and career transitions consultant. I can help people to highlight their transferable skills and focus in on what they do best to find that next forever job. I want to be able to help everyone, or as many people as possible, to make that move, to find what works best for them. Focusing in on not only what works for them, but how they can apply that. How can they show that that works for the next person? I am, I can, I want. Now, it's a very different tone when you're doing that in a very positive way. So everyone on this call is here because right now you're trying to find something new. But if you meet somebody in the beginning and they say, what my husband calls a standard job question, okay? Or the standard guy question. So tell me, what do you do? If you're unemployed, that's a question that's hard to answer, right? And the temptation is, I just lost my job and I'm looking for something new, right? And you go through your whole long story. And honestly, that's a bit of a turn on. People don't know how to respond. And if they can't give you what you're looking for in terms of that next role, that person to contact, that next idea, they're more likely to change the subject or to work away, okay? You're right, David. It's the worst question that people ask. What do you do, right? My husband finds it's the question he asks all the time. And people usually respond to him. Me, I'm not comfortable asking that question. But the idea is that if you're coming back with that I am, I can, I want instead, turn your I don't have that job right now from for me to, hey, I'm taking this time to really evaluate what I want to do. And I'm excited because I've discovered that what I really want to do is this. I'm really good at this. And I'm looking for new opportunities here. And then turn it around on them. So tell me more about you. That then becomes that conversation because now they're interested. They want to learn more as opposed to the, oh, now what? Okay. So think about that when you're doing that. So if you were to put it there, let me see, Alexander, you've got your hand up. Yep. Okay. So what are you?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I had a question. So if I'm talking about like in between jobs, can I say that I'm a former customer service representative that does volunteer work right now for nonprofit organizations, or say that I want to.
I would switch it around. Okay, people don't want to hear the former to start with. I might do it right now. What I'm doing is I'm volunteering with a variety of different organizations, and I'm really excited about it. But it gives me that opportunity to give back while I am looking for.
I like
Start
that.
with the positive first, rather than the negative. And former sounds negative.
That sounds good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I had somebody else in the chat, and I apologize. Daksha, you got your hand up, and I Apologize, it's been there for a while.
Sorry, Linda, my camera is not working today
That's okay.
somehow. What I was thinking that sometimes I can and I want, those two items could be the same, right?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said you are saying that introduce yourself. I am, I can, and I want.
Yes.
But what I'm thinking in my head that sometimes I can and I want, those two things could be the same.
They could. And so you don't have to answer the I want. You've already done it with the I can.
Okay.
So it's not a formal idea. It's a thought process to think about what it is you can provide and how you want to get that conversation started. What we're trying to do with all of these is start the conversations. Introducing yourself and immediately saying, hey, do you have something for me? Or I'm unemployed, I don't know what to do, and going through your long tale of woe. Those are conversation stoppers. The idea is to learn about them as they learn about you. That short information about you and then turning it around on them, asking questions about them starts to build that relationship. You may not get back to what it is you want for a while, but that's okay. The idea is once you get that relationship going, it's easier to build on it than it is to walk away or to have somebody walk away.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So when you think about that, 30-second intro, if the goal is, what can we do? How can we get those conversations going? Okay. Then that's what you want to do, is you want to be able to learn about them. Remember, just as with any kind of networking, this is an opportunity to learn about the other person and to build a relationship. Now, David, I saw you said in the chat at job fairs, you ask what kind of positions do you have open? And if they don't have the right ones, you walk away. That's not quite exactly what we're talking about today, but I want to build on it anyway, because you're losing the opportunity to build a relationship for something future. If you're going to a job fair, find out what the companies are in advance. Find out what kinds of jobs they might be offering. But if there's a company, this is a company that may have something for you in another area, and they're just not talking about it today. Hey, you know, that's great. I've really learned a lot about your company. I know that you're not the person who recruits for these jobs, but who in your company would you suggest that I speak with? Who else can I contact? As opposed to just walking away and being done. Does that help? Alexander.
Quick question. Can you use the same format I am, I can, I want when connecting with people on LinkedIn? Would that work?
You could, but it's a little different. So that's not a good connection message. LinkedIn networking is really more about building that relationship first. Okay. So you want to be able to, when you're in that conversation, the I am, I can, I want. But initially, when you're doing that LinkedIn networking or almost any kind of networking, it's finding out about them first. If somebody immediately approached you and said, hi, my name is Alexander, and I am, I can, I want, right? It's, well, so why are you talking to me? What is it you want from me? I don't have those kinds of opportunities. As opposed to, so tell me about you. What brought you here? What do you do? That sounds really interesting. How did you get into this? Okay. They're going to turn it around and then you can fill in that I am, I can, I want. But networking is usually more about them than about you, especially to begin with. The best networking connections are those where you're building those relationships, where you're having those conversations, which is what we're going to do in just a couple of minutes. Okay. Other questions about that 30-second intro, because that's really what we're talking about today. You want to make sure that when you're doing those intros, and best places, summer is a great time to do a lot of those because we run into people casually all the time, right? You're at a kid's game. You're sitting at the pool and you meet somebody next to you. You can start a conversation there. The dreaded airplane conversations. Whatever it is, okay? You want to be able to have that conversation and to get it started. And you would be amazed. The more you talk to other people, the more you share, you ask them about themselves, the more likely they are not only to ask about you, but to be interested in providing assistance and support. You may not get those conversations to turn into the next best job. You may not get those conversations to turn into who else can I talk to, although that's always you're going to ask. But it's a way of putting yourself out there. And you want to make sure that when you're doing it, the reason that I like that I am, I can, I want, is it forces you to be succinct, to be short, to think about it. The clearer you are, so that somebody knows exactly what you want, what you're good at, what your selling point is, your value proposition. One thing, okay? Call it your superpower. That thread that runs throughout everything that you do that will help you move from corporate America, Barbara, to your own gig, okay? Or from one industry to another, even though they're looking for the unicorn. That's what you want them to focus in on. And you have to be able to say it very clearly, very succinctly, so that people know what you want. People know who you are. So that I am, I can, I want framework is a great way of starting to think about it. Now, you don't have to follow it completely. You don't have to use those, but it's a way of thinking about it for yourself. What is it that you really want to do? What can you bring? What are you looking for from this conversation? And more importantly, it's also that way of thinking about how can you focus the conversation in on them to start to build that relationship. Them first, then you. Okay, unless you're specifically asked. Now that networking introduction also, by the way, goes into your headline on LinkedIn. So in a couple of minutes, we're actually going to go into small groups and do some networking. And everybody has the ability to share their screen in those small groups. So here's what I want you to do when we go into groups. I want you to start to build those relationships. I want you to talk about what it is you do and what you're looking for, more importantly, to find out about them. I want you all to connect with one another. And if during that time frame anybody is comfortable and wants to share their LinkedIn profile on screen with the people in your group, to see whether or not that headline tells people what it is you really do and what you want. Many of our headlines are very broad. We're going to do a full section on LinkedIn again another time, but this is not a bad. We're a small enough group right now that we can do this. So think about whether or not your LinkedIn headline or what you're putting in the chat or how you introduce yourselves in those small groups really reflects what you do and what you want and encourages people to reach out and to maintain those connections. Sounds like a big ask? I hope not. It's an opportunity to really go ahead and do those LinkedIn networking conversations and to build your network. So before I put you into small groups, I'm going to remind you to make sure that your information is in the chat. Okay. I want you to connect with everybody. Oops, wrong thing. I'm using a program called Text Expander. So all I have to do is type in a couple of letters and it fills it all in for me. Sometimes, however, I put in the wrong words, the wrong letters. Yes, Marianne. Okay. So I put in QC instead of whatever, but I'm giving myself the opportunity, you all the opportunity to be able to have a quick conversation with me if you haven't already done so. Do make sure that all that information is there. I'm going to include the information in the private group as well. Now, the reason I'm doing it again now is that I'm about to turn off the cameras and put you into small groups for those of you who want. And because we're doing these networking sessions, I am willing to stay for an extra half hour. So we'll go, instead of ending at 12 Central, we'll go until 12:30 Central for those who want to stay around. Okay, if you want to leave early, that's fine. But I'm going to turn off the recordings, and I'm going to give you the opportunity now to go ahead and copy the chat. Because when you go into the private group, you're not going to be able to see that, or into those small groups. When you are in the small groups, if you want me for any reason, because we haven't done this for a while, at the bottom of your screen in the small group, there's a help. Go ahead and do that, and that summons me or gives me the message to say, come join this group and have, you all got a question, okay? Or in addition, you can just send me a quick little message, but that's the easiest way. All right? So I'm going to give you a minute or two to go ahead and copy the chat. If you don't remember how to do that, go up to the top of the screen where it says Job Search Lunch and Learn, 3 dots to the right, and it says Save Chat. Or you can do it the old-fashioned way, which is go ahead and scroll up and down the whole screen, Control-C, and then Control-V to put it into a document of your own. So I'm going to do that while I set up these meetings, and I'm going to turn off the recording.